Welcome back to my channel, guys. I'm so sorry I haven't been very consistent with filming this year, but that will all change next year because I do want to film a lot more. My mental health hasn't been that great this year, so it's been very difficult to film. My mental health has not been mental healthing at all, but I do really want to get back to filming, especially these Buffy videos and entertainment videos, because I know that you guys enjoy them and I enjoy doing it as well. But I am still watching Buffy. I'm taking all my notes so that when I do film, I've got enough content to film for you guys. But if you're watching this just after Christmas, I hope you guys all had a good Christmas and I hope you guys are looking forward to the new year. But I'm not going to carry on rambling on. But as you already know, if you are a friend to this channel, grab your snacks, grab your tea, grab your coffee, because when we come back, we will be talking about Buffy Season 1, Episode 11, Out of Mind, Out of Sight. We start this episode with Cordelia talking to Harmony about a school dance. And she's so excited about it. Of course, it's Cordelia. We know she loves a good school dance. And she's just really excited. And then we see Buffy run into them. And she spills all of this Slayer props that she has all over the floor, because we know she carries them around, as you do. But she, of course, makes up an excuse that Giles, the lovely Giles, has lent it to her for a school history project, which at this point probably some of the people will believe it, but we know Cordelia knows that she's a Slayer already. So, and then we cut to English class, which Cordelia, of course, has to always comment on something, and she comments that the Merchant of Venice is self-involved and whiny. Well, does this sound familiar? Because it kind of reminds me of someone in Buffy. I wonder who that could be. Obviously Cordelia. So it kind of goes hand in hand with her character, but it's funny that she comments on that character being whiny when she's pretty much that character anyway. But the teacher, for some reason, appears to agree with her viewpoint, which I don't get why, but anyway, we know that Cordelia can't do any wrong. Then we cut to the locker room, which we see Mitch, who is Cordelia's boyfriend, get attacked by a baseball bat, and we don't know obviously how this is happening. This is obviously the start to this episode and what kind of evil we're going to be seeing moving forward. Then of course Cordelia, with her priorities, she is outside campaigning for May Queen, and she's doing all she can to campaign and win the title for the May Queen. Then of course it wouldn't be the Scooby Gang without Xander and Willow mocking Cordelia for this, and they're trying to make fun of her because Cordelia, obviously, as we know, her priorities are things like winning school dances, probably prom eventually, and things like that. But to Willow and Xander, it's obviously funny, but we know Xander likes her, so that's why he probably mocks her. Then cut to Buffy, and she feels left out and explains to them that she was the May Queen at her old school. So we know that before Buffy moved to Sunnydale, she was very popular. She was probably going to be prom queen. She was that popular girl, cheerleader, whereas when she's come here, obviously there's Cordelia, so she's having to compete with her. The conversation then ends when it's discovered that Mitch has been beaten up, and then obviously the principal then has to try and figure out obviously what's happened and things like that. Before Mitch is taken to the hospital, he explains what happened but refuses to let Buffy into the crime scene. Obviously Buffy's a high school student, she's not a police officer or anything like that, so of course they're not going to let her in. But we know Buffy, she does want to get involved and try and obviously figure out what it is, because most likely or not in Sunnydale is going to be paranormal. Then we see Willow and Xander step up and distract the principal so Buffy can get in there and find out any clues as to what could have happened, because it's not really going to be just another kid with a baseball bat, is it? It's really going to be something that's more supernatural, and then once she figures this out, she can then feed it back to Giles and the team and figure out obviously what's going to happen, which is a running theme in Buffy. And then we see the Scoobies are stumped. They suspect a ghost is behind what is happening. So it seems that it's not someone who is a demon or anything like that, which is very obvious and they can see who it is. It's most likely a ghost, and that makes it harder because how do you fight a ghost? It's not like she's going to be fighting a vampire. It's like you can't see the ghost, so how are you going to fight it? Meanwhile, Harmony asks Cordelia about Mitch's condition, to which she replies that his bruises are too bad for them to be photographed at the prom. So again, priorities, pictures for the school dance and things like that. Cordelia is just obsessed with aesthetics and look and things like that. She's very superficial, so rather than caring about her boyfriend's well-being, he's just got attacked by a ghost, she cares about the school pictures, as most teenage girls probably do. And then we cut to present day. Harmony is pushed down the stairs by an invisible force, and obviously she gets hurt. So now, although we suspected it might be a ghost, it's starting to make more sense that yes, we most likely have a ghost, and it's out there to try and get revenge on the school or anyone in particular, which we'll obviously find out the more the episode goes along. But it's kind of scary because, like I said, unlike the vampires, unlike the demons, you can't see a ghost, so it can be anywhere, it can hurt anyone. How is Buffy going to fight it? And that's obviously how we're going to get to finding out sort of near the end how they're obviously going to defeat this thing. Then we see Buffy following an invisible being laughing, so that is another way for her to try and figure out who it is, what's happening, and potentially try and fight it, is because yes, she can't see it, but she can hear it laughing, or she can hear noises. And with Buffy, we know that she has to have really strong senses in the sense, she has that really strong senses that she can figure out where there's a demon or anything like that without actually even being able to see him. And I don't know if you remember in the movie where Buffy gets blindfolded and she has to try and like fight. So it's about using your other senses, especially like with demons like this or ghosts. Then later on, Xander suggests a cloak of invisibility worn by the Greek gods. Buffy dismisses the theory as the crimes being committed are too petty. And then again, we see Buffy following sound. She follows the sound of a flute. So this time, it's almost like the ghost, or whatever it is trying to torment her by leaving these little sounds, trying to get Buffy to follow it. And we'll obviously find out why. Then we cut to the library where Giles is surprised that Angel offers to find the Book of Prophecies. And then it's another flashback sequence showing Cordelia and Harmony discussing a lecture and ignoring a girl called Marcy. Now, in the present, Cordelia wins the May Queen competition. When looking over Willow's list of missing students, Buffy sees Marcy there. She suspects, is this the person that is haunting everyone? Because, okay, now Buffy has seen a missing girl. She suspects that maybe this girl has it out for Cordelia, maybe, and wants to obviously win the title, and she wants to be seen, whereas she's now maybe a ghost and is now actually invisible to the school by being a ghost rather than just being invisible and people just ignoring her. And I think that is the running theme of this, is how students, especially high school students, can sometimes feel invisible to their peers and just want to be seen, especially if they're not popular. But in this case, it's actually taken it further and she's actually turned into a ghost or turned invisible. Then Buffy tracks Marcy and finds her hideout just as Marcy finds Cordelia's literature teacher. She suffocates her with a plastic bag, and Cordelia arrives shortly after and manages to save the teacher. So Cordelia has actually done something good. She has saved the teacher. She's actually gone out of her way to save her teacher, and not just thought about herself in this instance. And then as Willow looks over Marcy's yearbook, she sees that all the messages written are generic. Have a nice summer, which is a sign that people didn't really know Marcy. Yeah, she probably had friends here and there, but people didn't actually really know who she was. So rather than getting really deep and talking about memories with Marcy and things like that, they were all very generic, as you would, like, have a good summer, take care of yourself, like all that kind of stuff, which again goes back to my point of she was probably invisible to her peers, and then because of that she now actually turned invisible. So she's not actually a bad person, it's just that she really did feel left out and she just wanted to be seen. And then obviously Giles realises that Marcy has become invisible, and then they've actually figured it out now. And then as the Scoobies realise this, the latter enters the library and asks Buffy for protection. They decide to use Cordelia as bait, and we know they love doing this with Cordelia. They use her as bait quite a lot of the times, but we know that Cordelia is one of the sort of mean girls, and she's probably the one that Marcy wanted to be like. But obviously Cordelia probably didn't want to give her the time of day, so that's why they're going to use Cordelia. Then we see Marcy lures Willow, Xander and Giles into the boiler room, where she locks the door and turns the gas on before grabbing Cordelia. So now the main part of the gang, they're trapped, and she has Cordelia, so that's not a good thing. And then Marcy surprises Buffy, kicking her and knocking her out. So now she's going to be fighting with Buffy, but again, Buffy can't really fight a invisible person. She's going to have to use her senses and her hearing. And then Buffy wakes up, tied to a chair next to Cordelia. They see the word learn written on a curtain. So it's like, what does this mean? Why are you written the word learn on a curtain? It explains that Cordelia is a lesson, or she will be after she plans to make a mockery of Cordelia. And then we see Buffy kick all the surgical tools away from Cordelia. So obviously Marcy cannot do anything to Cordelia, so although she can't rescue her yet, she's going to obviously try anything to do to help her. See Buffy using what I was basically saying this whole time is using her listening skills and trying to concentrate to try and figure out where Marcy is, because she's still invisible. Then Buffy kicks Marcy to the curtains, which is very clever of Buffy, because now it's given Marcy a shape. So yes, she's invisible, but now she has a shape which is outlined from the curtains, so now she can actually fight her and try and obviously defeat her. Then we see 2 FBI agents arrive, who then take Marcy away. And obviously we know Buffy has saved the day again and saved Cordelia, as she always does. And then Cordelia, doing something out of character for her, she comes by the Scoobies and she obviously thanks them for saving her life and saving her, and she's actually very grateful for them, which is surprising. Then obviously cut back to Cordelia being who she actually is. When Mitch arrives, her boyfriend, she shows that she's actually not willing to give up her popularity and her chance to be May Queen by being with him. And then we see Marcy is taken to a school full of invisible students, where she'll actually fit in because she's not the only invisible one. So she's not actually the only invisible one, so she will actually probably fit in here and actually be happy. And then we see her opening up a book, a textbook that is on her table, that the title reads Assassination and Infiltration. So this is how this episode ends. It was a very interesting episode. It was a fun episode. Again, nothing to do with demons or vampires, just a normal girl wanting to be seen, which is definitely something that a lot of people probably struggle with, is just wanting their voice to be heard, wanting to be noticed. So has a very deep meaning to it, but a fun episode nonetheless. But yeah, as I said guys, so many more videos coming up, so many more Buffy videos. If you want to see me do any other type of reviews, let me know in the comments, and let me know in the comments what you guys did for Christmas and your New Year plans, and I will see you guys in my next video. Mwah!